Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's Specialist Pub Quiz with myself, Lee. This week's pub quiz is back to school round. So there's going to be 5 questions with school subjects. So we will have a geography round, a science round, a sports round, or when you was in school it would be PE. Then it will be history and then a maths round. There's been a bit of a hiccup today. I was originally going to be doing a quiz that would have been pre-recorded with a slideshow presentation. I've had trouble all day sorting it out, but typically it decided to upload about 15 minutes ago onto my YouTube channel. So the quiz that I'm doing live now with you guys is also up as a pre-recorded that I done earlier on today. So if you want to go back and look at the presentation quiz that I done, you're more than welcome to. But it's all the same questions as what we're going to do this evening. But if you do, let me know what you thought of it. See if it's easier for you. It'd be nice for you to let me know, so I can try and do it a bit better next week. So the plan is that I'm going to try and do a live quiz like now on a Monday evening, which will be the general knowledge quiz, and then try and do a pre-recorded quiz for a Wednesday, which will go live at 7 o'clock as I would normally do a live one, but it'll be pre-recorded. So we shall see what goes on. There's also been another change that I've decided to do. It's now not called COVID Pub Quiz. It's now just going to be called Lee's Pub Quiz. Seeing as everyone, well, most people are looking at wanting to go back on the 15th of June, I thought it might be right to change the quiz name, so it's now just Lee's Pub Quiz instead of COVID Pub Quiz. But I will still have the COVID Pub Quiz sign up in the background somewhere over there, if you can see it. So yes, thank you to everyone that's obviously following me, as I say, every week. It's nice that you're supporting me. Hopefully you're letting your friends and other people know as well. Just give a shout out to Segovia. Sorry, my mistake. So shout out to Tony, Kim, Scott, Emilio, my neighbours that joins in every week as well. Fred Leone. It's nice of you to all follow me. Yeah, so 5 rounds this week on the specialist quiz. I've changed it up. So as usual, it will be 3 rounds. Then I'll give you the answers. We'll have a short break, and then we'll do the final 2 rounds. 30 seconds between each answer as well. I've actually got the presentation up here in front of me, so I'm going to be reading from that. So if you see me looking in a corner, that would be why. So yeah, so hopefully you'll be able to see the presentation that I've done on my YouTube channel, and you can let me know how that goes. That is my key goal, is to try and do 1 live and 1 pre-recorded a week. So it sort of gives me a bit of time in the evenings as well. So yeah, so hopefully you've all got your pen and papers ready. As you can see, I've dawned on another one of my funky shirts that I own. That is what I'm going to try and do every time I do a quiz. But I am running out of funky shirts, so I might be wearing the same ones again. So if you have all got your pens and papers at the ready, we shall begin the first round, which will be your science round. So question 1 is, at what temperature are Fahrenheit and Celsius equal to each other? So that's, at what temperature are Fahrenheit and Celsius equal to each other? Hopefully you're all staying safe and had a good couple of days. I know the weather's not been very nice, but as long as you're finding things to do to keep you busy, that's the main thing. Question 2. Which planet has the most moons? So that's which planet has the most moons? Question 3. In the periodic table, what's the symbol of zinc? So in the periodic table, what's the symbol for zinc? Question 4. Can you tell me what type of animal is a barramundi? So that's what type of animal is a barramundi? Sorry, it's barramundi. I, not A at the end. So it's what type of animal is a barramundi? There might be a couple of questions to throw you off that I have previously done in different rounds, so hopefully you might remember some of the answers. And question 5 is one of them, and that is, what is a pomelo? Is it A, a hat, B, a fruit, or C, a musical instrument? So that's, what is a pomelo? Is it A, a hat, B, a fruit, or C, a musical instrument? Question 6. What's the material called that won't carry an electric charge? So that's, what's the material called that won't carry an electrical charge? Question 7. On the human body, where would you find the papillae? So that's, where on the human body would you find the papillae? That's actually how it said, sorry. So it's papillae. Where on the human body would you find the papillae? Question 8. Who was the ancient Greek god of medicine? So that's, who was the ancient Greek god of medicine? Question 9. What kitchen appliance that saves us all time did Percy Spencer invent? So that's, what kitchen appliance that saves us time did Percy Spencer invent? Like I previously said, this quiz is up in a PowerPoint presentation on my YouTube channel as well. So if you get time, have a quick look through that, see what you think, let me know, and then I'll try and do a presentation one next week that would be pre-recorded, and hopefully you would all be able to join in. So let's move on to the final question for round one, and that's umami is the name of one of the 5 basic what? So umami, so that's UMAMI, is the name of one of the 5 basic what? So that was your 10 questions for the science round. Let's give you a minute to sort out your answers, and then we shall move on to round 2, which will be geography round. So if everyone's ready, we shall move on to the questions for geography. So question 1 is, what is the oldest recorded town in the UK? So can you tell me what the oldest recorded town is in the UK? Question 2. In what country would you find Lake Bled? So in what country would you find Lake Bled? That's B-L-E-D, Lake Bled. Question 3. What is the smallest country in the world? So that's, what is the smallest country in the world? Question 4. How many US states begin with the letter A? Now, I will give you a point if you get how many begin with A, and I'll give you a point for each state you write down that begins with A that is correct. So it's a possible of 5 points for question 4. So it's a point for how many you get if you get it right, how many there are, and a point for each one that you write down. So that's how many US states begin with the letter A. Question 5. What is the highest mountain in Britain? So can you tell me what the highest mountain in Britain is? Also, if anyone's got any suggestions of what specialist quiz to do next week, please let me know. At the moment, I'm probably thinking of a music one for next week. But if you've got any other suggestions, let me know. Question 6. How many countries still have the shilling as currency? So how many countries still have the shilling as currency? Question 7. On the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I? So on the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I? Question 8. Which Central American county has a name which translated to the English as the Savior? So which Central American county has a name which translated to English as the Savior? As you have probably noticed if you've been following me for a while, my questions are getting a bit harder. That's because I think I'm exhausting all the easy questions. So I'll give everyone a bit of a challenge now. Question 9 is, what African country has the largest population? So what African country has the largest population? And question 10 is, what is the capital of Poland? So can you tell me what the capital of Poland is? And that is your second round of this week's specialist quiz done of geography. Hope everyone's finding it relatively okay. The next round we're going to move on to round 3 would be PE in school, or sports as we know it. So we'll read these 10 questions out, then we will give you the answers. As in the general knowledge round, we will give you a short break and then we will come back and do the final 2 rounds, which will be history round and a maths round. So if you are all ready, we shall begin with question 1. And that is, what is the maximum score you can get in 10-pin bowling? So what is the maximum score you can get in 10-pin bowling? I'm sure everyone at the moment that likes 10-pin bowling can't wait for them to start opening so we can get back to playing some bowling. I know certainly myself I enjoy it. One of the sports I like and enjoy. Question 2. What is the value of the pink ball in snooker? So what is the value of the pink ball in snooker? Question 3. The term albatross in golf means what? So the term albatross in golf means what? Question 4. Which country cricket team plays their home game at Lord's? So which country cricket team plays their home game at Lord's? Question 5. Name the only two positions who can score in netball. So name the only two positions who can score in netball. Question 6. Which horse won the virtual Grand National in 2020? So which horse won the virtual Grand National in 2020? Question 7. Name the British women's taekwondo player who won a gold medal in the 57 kg at the 2012 London Olympics and in Rio 2016. So name the British women's taekwondo player who won a gold medal in the 57 kg at the 2012 London Olympics and Rio 2016. Just been asked a question for the county or country for cricket question. I will just double check that for you. If you just bear me 2 seconds. So for question 4, I will reiterate it is county. That is my mistake. So I'm asked which county cricket team plays at their home ground at Lords. I apologise for that question on question 4. It was a typo on my mistake. So question 8. How many Olympic gold medals has Mo Farah won? So how many Olympic gold medals has Mo Farah won? And I apologise for any mistakes that I make. Still a learning curve. As I say, it wasn't planned this way. It was going to be a pre-recorded, but it seems to be lucky enough I've done it as a live for my mistakes. So question 9. Which cyclist from Wales is an Olympic gold medalist and 5 times world champion? So that's which cyclist from Wales is an Olympic gold medalist and 5-time world champion? And the final question for round 3 is who is the current #1 tennis player in the male rankings? So that's who is the current #1 tennis player in the male rankings? So that is your first 3 rounds for this week's back to school quiz. I'll just give you I'll give you a minute to sort your answers out, and then we will go through the answers, and then we will have a short break, and then we'll come back for the final 2 rounds, which will be your history round and maths round. As usual, if you can, let me know how you're getting on with this week's quiz, how you find it, your scores as well, and if you're still enjoying it as well. That's just basically what I like to hear. Make sure you're still enjoying the quizzes, and I'll keep doing them. So hopefully, if I go back to work, I can still carry on doing them as well. So if you're ready, we will go through the answers quickly. So question 1 of the science round was, at what temperature are Fahrenheit and Celsius equal to each other? The answer is -40. They are both equal at the same temperature. It's -40. Question 2 was, which planet has the most moons? And that is Jupiter. Jupiter has the most moons. And question 3, in the periodic table, what's the symbol for zinc? And that is Zn. So Zn is the symbol for zinc. Then I wanted to know what a type of animal is a barramundi, and that is a fish. And this is one of the no, you don't get a bonus point for 12 moons. It's just, I just want to know what planet it was. So unfortunately there was no bonus point on that question. So question 5 was, what is a pomelo? Was it a hat, a fruit, or a musical instrument? And the answer was, it was a fruit, and it's the largest in the citrus family. Then I asked, what's the material called that won't carry any electrical charge? And if you've been following me, you'll realize this is also a question I've repeated before, and that is an insulator. Cannot carry an electric charge. Then I asked, where on the human body would you find the papillae? And that is on the tongue. Papillae is on the tongue. Then I wanted to know who the ancient Greek god of medicine is, and that is Asclepius. Number 9 is, what kitchen appliance that saves us time did Percy Spencer invent? And he invented the microwave cooker. Then umami, so it's U-M-A-M-I, is the name of one of the 5 basic whats? That is one of the 5 basic tastes. So umami is your tastes. Just give you a couple of seconds just to jot down your score. Then we'll move on to round 2 for geography answers. So, round 2, answer number 1. What is the oldest recorded town in the UK? That is Colchester. Then I wanted to know, in what country would you find Lake Bled? You would find that in Slovenia, or Slovenia, however you would like to pronounce that. The smallest country in the world is Vatican City, was number 3. So Vatican City. Now question 4, you've got a possible of 5 points here, as I said. How many US states begin with the letter A? You've got 1 point if you've got 4, and then you've got an extra point for each one you got right. So there was Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and Arkansas. So that's Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, and Arkansas was the 4 main US states that begin with A. Question 5 was, what is the highest mountain in Britain? And that is Ben Nevis. So Ben Nevis. Question 6 was, how many countries still have the shilling as currencies? And that is 4. And those countries are Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Somalia. They're the only 4 that still have the shilling as currency. And for anyone that goes on London Tube, so on the London Tube network, which is the only station to begin with the letter I, and that's Ickenham, so I-C-K-E-N-H-A-M. Question 8, I asked which Central American county has a name which translated to English as the Surveyor, and that is El Salvador. So El Salvador was translated to English as the Savior. In question 9, I asked what African country has the largest population, and that is Nigeria. There's a population of 190 million in Nigeria. And the final question in round 2, I asked what is the capital of Poland. The capital of Poland is Warsaw. Excuse me. So Warsaw is the capital of Poland. So that was your 10 questions for round 2. I'll give you a couple of seconds just to tally up your scores, and then we'll move on to round 3, which was the sports round, and then we'll have a quick break and then come back and do the final 2 rounds. Just let you tally up your scores. Right, so round 3 answers are: question 1, what is the maximum score you can get in 10-pin bowling? The answer is 300 is the maximum score you can get in 10-pin bowling. That's 300. And what I wanted to know next was what is the point value of the pink ball in snooker? And the answer is 6. So if you think you've got the yellow, green and brown, which will, red is 1, then you've got yellow, green and brown, which is 2, 3 and 4. Blue is 5, pink is 6, black is 8, and then obviously you've got your red balls, which is 1. And question 3, in the term albatross in golf means what? And it means 3 shots under par. There's 3 shots under par. And question 4, I made a slight mistake with what I said. The question should have been which county cricket team plays their home ground game at Lords, and the answer is Middlesex play at their home ground. Sorry. So I made a little bit of a mistake on question 4, so I apologise for that. Question 5 was name the only 2 positions who can score in netball, and that is a goal shooter and a goal attack. I'll have to double check on that black score, but I'm positive black equals 8. But I will double check. I could be wrong. I have always classed it as 8, but I will find out. Question 6. Which horse won the virtual Grand National in 2020? And that was Potter's Corner. So Potter's Corner. Question 7. Name the British women's taekwondo player who won a gold medal in the 57 kg at the 2012 London Olympics and at Rio in 2016. The answer was Jade Jones, was the British women's taekwondo player. So it's Jade Jones. Number 8 was how many Olympic gold medals has Mo Farah won? And he has won 4. He got 2 in London Olympics and 2 in Rio. So he's got 4 gold medals. And question 9 was which cyclist from Wales is an Olympic gold medalist and 5 times world champion? And that is Eleanor Barker. So Eleanor Barker is a cyclist from Wales. And your final question for round 3 was who is the current #1 tennis player in the male rankings? And that is Novak Djokovic. So Novak Djokovic is the current #1 tennis player in the male rankings. So that was your first 3 rounds for this week's back to school quiz. I hope you find it okay. Again, I'm still enjoying doing the quizzes. I may make mistakes, but everyone that I know makes mistakes at doing quizzes. No one is actually perfect at doing them. So yeah, so hopefully you're enjoying it. We're going to have a short break. I'm going to get a top up of drink, and then we will come back and we will do the final 2 rounds, which will be a history round and then a maths round. Okie dokie. Just keep letting me know your scores, which is good as well. Let me know how you're getting on. So yeah, so I'll be back in a moment. everyone, we're back. I hope you enjoyed the tunes that was playing there for the break. I certainly like that. That's Kygo's Piano Jam. So just if anyone was interested in knowing what that was, it's Kygo's Piano Jam. It's a lovely soundtrack. I do like listening to that. So how's everyone getting on? Let's have a look. Kim, 27 out of 34, not bad. Tony, 23 out of 34, very good. Emilio, 24 out of 34, so you're all looking around about the same, which is good. Hi Jason, nice to see you. Hope you're joining in with the quiz. Hope you find it okay. Hope everyone is. So if everyone's got their refreshments and ready with their pen and paper, we shall move on to round 4, which is the history round. So question 1 of history is, who was Lord Mayor of London 4 times between 1397 and 1419 and the inspiration for a classic English folk tale? So I'll repeat that again because it was a long one. Who was the Lord Mayor of London 4 times between 1397 and 1419 and the inspiration for a classic English folk tale? Question 2 is, who was the second president of the United States? So, who was the second president of the United States? Question 3. Who was the only one of Henry VIII's wives to receive a queen's funeral? So, who was the only one of Henry VIII's wives to receive a queen's funeral? Question 4. Which British archaeologist discovered Tutankhamun's tomb? So, which British archaeologist discovered Tutankhamun's tomb? Question 5. Who was the leader of Britain's ill-fated Antarctic expedition, which was one of the first to reach the South Pole in 1912? So, who was the leader of the Britain's ill-fated Antarctic expedition, which was one of the first to reach the South Pole in 1912? So, who was the leader? Question 6. In which European country was there a civil war between 1946 and 1949? So, in which European country was there a civil war between 1946 and 1949? Question 7. Which 13th century Scottish knight did Mel Gibson portray in Braveheart? So, which 13th century Scottish knight did Mel Gibson portray in Braveheart? Question 8. Which war was fought in South Africa between 1899 and 1902? So, which war was fought in South Africa between 1899 and 1902? Question 9 is in which country did the Second World War battles of El Alamein take place? So that's in which country did the Second World War battles of El Alamein take place? Or Alamein. So that's EL space ALAMEIN. And final question for your history round is who discovered the wreckage of the Titanic? So who discovered the wreckage of the Titanic? That was your 10 questions for your history round. Give you a little time to sort your answers out, and then we will move on to the final round, everyone's favourite subject at school, maths. So if everyone's ready, we shall move on to the maths round. So don't put yourself down in the failing in maths. You might be surprised. So question 1 in maths is how many months are there in 12 years? So how many months are there in 12 years? Question 2. Which prime number is closest to 100? So that's which prime number is closest to 100? So which prime number is closest to 100? Question 3. How many vertices are there in a tetrahedron? So that's how many vertices are there in a tetrahedron? Question 4. What is the square root of 484? So can you tell me what the square root of 484 is? Question 5. How many seconds are there in 12 minutes? So how many seconds are there in 12 minutes? Question 6. How many degrees are there in 3 right angles? So how many degrees are there in 3 right angles? Question 7. If the 3rd of March is a Tuesday, what day of the week is the 1st of July? So if the 3rd of March is a Tuesday, what day of the week is the 1st of July? Question 8 is how many minutes are there in quarter of a day? So that's how many minutes are there in quarter of a day? Question 9, how many millimeters are there in 80 centimeters? So that's how many millimeters are there in 80 centimeters? And your final question for this week's specialist round is how many minutes are there in a day? So can you tell me how many minutes there are in one day? And that is the questions all done for this week's specialist round of Back to School. I'll give you a couple of seconds just to sort your answers out, and then we will move on to giving you the answers. Have everyone found those questions relatively okay? As I say, this week I thought I'd do the back to school round, get it done out of the way, so then I haven't got to worry about any history or geography questions again. I might throw some in the general knowledge, but we'll see how we go. So if everyone is ready, we will go through the answers. So for the round 4 history, question 1, I asked who was the Lord Mayor of London 4 times between 1397 and 1419 and the inspirational for a classic English folk tale? And the answer was Richard or Dick Whittington. So Richard or Dick Whittington. Question 2 was who was the second president of the United States? And that was John Adams. So John Adams was the second president of the United States. Then I asked, who was the only one of Henry VIII's wives to receive a Queen's funeral? And the answer was Jane Seymour. So Jane Seymour was the only one to receive a funeral. Question 4 was which British archaeologist discovered the Tutankhamun's tomb? And that was Howard Carter. He was the archaeologist that discovered the tomb. Howard Carter. Question 5 was who was the leader of Britain's ill-fated Antarctic expedition, which was one of the first to reach the South Pole in 1912? And the answer was Robert F. Scott. So it's Robert F. Scott was the leader of it. Question 6 was in which European country was the civil war between 1946 and 1949? And that was Greece. Number 7 is which 13th century Scottish knight did Mel Gibson portray in Braveheart? And that was William Wallace. William Wallace. Number 8, which war was fought in South Africa between 1899 and 1902? And that was the Second Boer War. So that's the Second Boer War, or Allow Boer War. Number 9 is in which country did the Second World War battles of El Alamein take place, or Alamein take place? And that was in Egypt. And number 10 was who discovered the wreckage of the Titanic? And that was Robert Ballard discovered the Titanic. So that's Robert Ballard. So that was your history round. I'll give you a couple of seconds to tally up your score. And then we will move on to the final round, which was everyone's favourite round, maths. What I might do, once we finish the rounds, I might play the Kygo Piano Jam again in the background while everyone can send me their scores if they can. Let me know how they got on before I end the live quiz. We'll finish off with the Kygo Piano Jam. So the answers for round 5 are: question 1, how many months are there in 12 years? There are 144 months in 12 years. And then question 2, I asked which prime number is closest to 100? And that is 101 is the closest prime number to 100. Question 3 was how many vertices are there on a tetrahedron? There are 4. Now a tetrahedron is another term for a triangular base pyramid, and the vertices are the corners of that pyramid. Question 4, what is the square root of 484? And that is 22 is the square root of 484. Then I'd like to know how many seconds are there in 12 minutes? There are 720 seconds in 12 minutes. Question 6 was how many degrees are there in 3 right angles? There are 270 degrees in total in 3 right angles. Question 7, I asked, if the 3rd of March is a Tuesday, what day of the week is the 1st of July? And the answer is a Wednesday. So well done if you got that. So the answer would be Wednesday. And number 8 was how many minutes are there in quarter of a day? There are 360 minutes in quarter of a day. Number 9 was how many millimeters are there in 80 centimeters? There are 800 millimeters. And the final question for this week's specialist quiz was how many minutes are there in a day? There are 1,440 minutes in a day. So that is your quiz for this week. It's not quite as I had planned. As I say, I'd done a presentation and I was going to upload it, but it sort of decided to upload 15 minutes before I was going to go live. So hopefully next week on a Wednesday, if you get a chance, like I say, if you can have a look at it, it will be the same questions that I've just done. But if you can let me know if you thought the presentation was a good idea, if it helped you reading the questions as well as listening to me, then that's good. Other than that, I hope you stay safe. Again, I've certainly enjoyed doing the quizzes. I will be back doing my quiz general knowledge round on Monday, and then I will decide what to do for Wednesday. Again, if anyone's got any ideas or any special requests they'd like me to do a round on, then please put forward. While you're just putting all your scores down, it's good to see what everyone scores. I will play Kygo's Piano Jam. I will play out on that, and then we will say goodbye. So, thank you very much for tuning in. There was just a little bit more of Kygo's Piano Jam with myself, Lee Achilleos Irvine. I hope you stay safe and see you next time.